Local leaders fought for their constituents, and the team negotiated for a deal. They came together for an agreement. The team built the stadium, and local government funded the supporting infrastructure. Now for today's Big Bite. Now that the FIFA World Cup is done, Major League Soccer is getting into the second half of its regular season. And after talking yesterday about various community programs that professional sports franchises have in this city, the Bengals, the Reds, and FC Cincinnati, I wanted to go a little bit more into perspective on that. We had Charlie Frank on from the Reds Community Fund yesterday. Great guest. He gave us some insight into how much the Reds do compared to other franchises in other markets. It was a really great interview. You should make it a point to check that out. There's a situation going on right now in soccer that I also kind of wanted to compare things to. In town tonight, the Vancouver Whitecaps. They are playing FC Cincinnati here at TQL Stadium. That starts tonight. This is a soccer franchise in Vancouver that's been around for more than 50 years. Like FC Cincinnati, they are part of one of the great rivalries and older rivalries in MLS, the Cascadia Cup. They are one of the top teams in Major League Soccer, first place in the Western Conference. Vancouver, as part of its position geographically, hosted World Cup matches here in 2026, and commentators and players alike praised the atmosphere there. Yet, there are a lot of questions about the future of that franchise, specifically financial questions. Take a look at this.
The Vancouver Whitecaps making moves to potentially secure their future in this city. According to reports, the team has made an offer to Pavco, the Crown Corporation that runs BC Place, and the provincial government to take over operations at the stadium.
They would operate the venue, they would control the dates.
Michael McCall first broke the news on his soccer podcast Away from the Numbers. He says it would be a smart move as the Whitecaps would gain more control over revenue.
Which has been the big driving force. There's a big disparity between the money that other clubs are making in Major League Soccer and what the Whitecaps can make.
The Whitecaps have long faced financial challenges, with the league citing operational constraints around scheduling and venue access have created untenable conditions for the team.
But you've had other instances where the Whitecaps have had to play a game over in Victoria, they've had to play in Portland, a home game. So this would mean that they would control that, they would know what dates they might need, not book concerts, not book trade shows, not book other events that would clash with that. I think it's a win-win as well for Pavco. I don't really know how much appetite Pavco have for running the venue when they've got lots of other issues that they need to focus on.
So that's a really good recap from City News out of Vancouver. BC Place is the stadium where the Whitecaps and several other Canadian teams all play. The stadium is owned by Pavco, which is a Crown Corporation. That's a thing in Canada that is structured like a private company, but it is fully owned by the Canadian government. BC Place has been standing since the 1980s and has undergone a number of renovations. It's just a different approach to big stadiums in that part of the world. BC Place currently has the largest cable-supported retractable roof in the world, coming off of their last big renovation about a decade ago. The issue for the Whitecaps is that current team ownership says that because they don't own the stadium, they've missed out on hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, money from parking, money from concerts, and more. The Whitecaps are capped, if you will, and I wish you would, at getting 1/10 of the beer sales made at BC Place. That's a wild deal. MLS Commissioner Don Garber has said that a new stadium deal is a strict requirement of keeping this soccer team in Vancouver. Whitecaps management in just the last week has made a bid to Pavco to take over full operations and scheduling for BC Place. It is unclear what the path forward is on that. But stay with me now. Vancouver's issues really date back to 2011 when some seeds were planted when they joined MLS. This is the part that's going to sound familiar to you. The team was required to have their own soccer-specific stadium. So this is Nippert Stadium. FC Cincinnati played and grew there on the campus of the University of Cincinnati for years. The big local push to get FCC into Major League Soccer involved building a stadium just for the team in an urban core. That's an MLS requirement. And the plan ultimately landed on the West End. I don't know if you remember all the talk about the stadium possibly being built in Oakley? There was quite a bit of opposition locally from the people who live in the West End and others, with questions from business owners and more. There were demands by city leaders, demands by the Cincinnati Public School Board, all trying to work things out to build this stadium in the West End. This was the case for Vancouver in 2011, but unlike Cincinnati, partnerships in Canada faltered. Relationships were strained. Community leaders were unable to get a collaborative deal done. And it's that lack of collaboration that really is the difference maker. That's a proposal of what Vancouver could have in a waterfront stadium there. Vancouver's soccer-specific stadium would have been downtown on the waterfront, but the Port Authority there turned down a land exchange deal. Neighborhood coalitions railed against the development proposal. Vancouver City Council demanded that the soccer team come up with a comprehensive waterfront development. And in the end, the franchise looked to the Canadian government for help. That's why they're in BC Place now. That's what put them in a 15-year lease there, which is now expiring soon, with no new plan ready to go. As Vancouver comes to Cincinnati tonight, you may spot some Save the Caps banners being draped in Cincinnati's Bailey, as local fans are supporting efforts to keep the Caps in Vancouver. To be clear, demands were made of FC Cincinnati too, and the team agreed to a number of obligations in the neighborhood, paying $10 million to Cincinnati Public Schools to replace Stargell Stadium, along with the payments in lieu of taxes for the district. The club also committed to an educational partnership for students at Taft IT High School. Local leaders fought for their constituents, and the team negotiated for a deal. They came together for an agreement. The team built the stadium, and local government funded the supporting infrastructure. TQL Stadium opened just over 5 years ago, and yesterday we went over a number of ways that the FC Cincinnati Foundation continues its support of the West End. You've got things like youth soccer, sponsoring classrooms, food drives, over $700,000 alone in grant funding. And the development plans for that area in the West End are continuing to evolve. The team right now planning a more than $300 million mixed-use development. This is what it looks like today. I just checked it out, as FC Cincinnati right now is waiting to see if the state of Ohio will give it any money from the unclaimed funds account. That's a popular thing for teams to ask for these days. There is a court case still pending on that when it comes to the Browns getting more than $500 million. But this is the land just north of TQL Stadium. It's kind of a big hole that's been dug out. It is ready to go. But this is also what developer Rios says things will look like when it's all done. Everything that's sort of dug out there right now north of the stadium going to have a pair of 13-story mixed-use buildings, plans for apartments, condos, a hotel, office space, some other kind of entertainment venue, and a plaza. Cincinnati and Vancouver, a tale of two cities, if you will.